scrappy enough and have just enough, both in the rotation and in the bullpen, to scare some teams. I like this Cubs team. I don't know if I love them in the playoffs. And I don't know if I love them against the Phillies or even the Dodgers. But until that moment, I kind of like them. We talked about the importance of Brad Keller last week. It's even more important with Palencia's uncertainty. Palencia is going to be back. That was just a reset. Give him 15 days. Things are not going well. But what form of Palencia will return, we don't know. Keller becomes even more important. But with the emergence of Cade Horton, they really do have three starters. It's really the questions on offense as we head down the stretch here. And Waddle, actually, we vote for that every week, and they compile, the votes and do whatever the average is. And I think I voted them seventh. I think I did vote them seventh. Remember, they lost a home series to the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
One of the worst teams going. They lost their closer. They lost their right fielder. So in the moment, I think 7 was about right. They're probably better than 7 when healthy, and I think I would rank them higher as they head to the playoffs, especially if Tucker and Palencia do come back and Cade Horton is doing Cade Horton type things. So I still think they have a pretty good shot. Their magic number, by the way, is 8 to clinch a playoff spot. That is a fait accompli because the teams behind them aren't exactly lighting the world on fire. So they're set up to host that home series and go from there. And I think they have a shot. I think they have a shot to do some damage. I don't think you'd consider them the favorites, but a chance to do some damage in October.
I heard you this morning with Carmen and Yurko, and I could not agree with you more. We have discussed it. I was actually surprised that Carmen was so surprised at your thought process that Cade Horton should be the game one starter. And the way you drilled down on this for so many different reasons about whether or not, if the pressure is too big, I think it's even worse for him to start game 2 or game 3 in that situation, especially in an all hands on deck moment.
Right. I want to take all doubt out of it and just season end Sunday. Here's the ball on Tuesday. Go. I don't even worry about elimination games or game 3 or let's bring him out of the bullpen late or what. No, start game 1. The Padres have never seen him. They have no idea what's coming. I mean, this guy is elite right now, and counsel let him go a few more pitches than normal. It tells me in his last start, it tells me he's healthy. They're just saving him for the right moment to unleash him, and I think that will be in game 1 of the playoffs. That is my prediction, that he starts game 1 in the playoffs. I will tell you it's not a done deal. I think it's something they're discussing. This is just my opinion right now, but I think there's a lot of reasons. Maybe even near the top is the fact that the Padres have never seen him. And I think he get through 2 times through that lineup before they even know what hit him.
How would you describe this Cubs team, Jesse, as they motor through September here, getting towards the postseason? Like, what type of adjectives would you use to describe this team as they are now?
Yeah, I mean, like last night's game is an example of what they can do. Knock a home run against a good pitcher, get on base, steal a couple times off him, get a Justin Turner RBI double off a lefty, which you will probably see in the playoffs. Like, they're scrappy enough and have just enough, both in the rotation and in the bullpen, to scare some teams. I like this Cubs team. I don't know if I love them in the playoffs. I don't know if I love them against the Phillies or even the Dodgers. But until that moment, I kind of like them. We talked about the importance of Brad Keller last week. It's even more important with Palencia's uncertainty. Palencia is going to be back. That was just a reset. Give him 15 days. Things are not going well. But what form of Palencia will return, we don't know. Keller becomes even more important. But with the emergence of Cade Horton, they really do have 3 starters. Yeah, Matthew Boyd's not at his best at the moment, but he's not far off. He's not far off, and Shota is Shota. It's really the questions on offense as we head down the stretch here. Pico Armstrong, 237 against righties since the All-Star break. Disaster versus lefties. Seiya still struggling. And, of course, Tucker out of the lineup. If somehow those last 10 days offensively can crystallize, okay, now we have something, Tommy. I like them. I just don't love them. I think that probably is a lot of people that are listening right now to us feeling the same way.
I want to play you something. This is something that we've done recently where we do like the winners of the day. It's called Wins with Wallner. Wins with Wallner brought to you by Wallner Law. Wallner Law handles the toughest cases in car and truck accidents, medical malpractice, and injuries on the job. Wallner Law, win with Wallner, and the winners of the day is old man strength, Jesse, something you just alluded to. Let me play the clips here because the old men were on display yesterday. You mentioned Turner, Santana with a great defensive play, and then Kittredge. Take a listen.
Sale fires. Line drive, base hit, left field. Here comes Dansby around third. He's coming in to score. Turner takes the turn, racing for second, and he dives in. Line drive, one hop. Oh, Santana. Kittredge gets over. Well, the Gold Glover a season ago, and he shows the good hands right there. Carlos Santana. Tap towards third. This is Shaw. And that's the ball game. Cubs win. Kittredge closes it out.
They're all 35 and older. Of those three, Jesse, who will have the bigger impact down the stretch?
Probably Kittredge because of the Palencia situation. He moves up a notch, right? But don't discount Justin Turner, and don't discount Justin Turner in a playoff situation. The Padres, for example, have some good lefties. He will get those at-bats. He's hitting .275 against left-handed pitching. I know it's nothing special, but you know what? Michael Busch is hitting .185. PCA's hitting .184 against lefties. Those guys will get pinch hit for late in the game, especially if Alcantara and Willie Castro are around who can play center field for PCA. So I Kittredge probably down the stretch more than anyone, but don't discount Justin Turner.
Hey, I hate to give everybody whiplash, but I have a question for you about these White Sox, Jesse.
Sure.
I mean, they're 9-2 in their last 11 games. How much of this is something that White Sox fans should be really excited about next year? How much of this is, there's nothing to lose out there? They're playing free and easy. Who are these White Sox?
No, I think there's some excitement, and I do think this is something that can carry over. Not saying the 14 Cubs to the 15 Cubs is the same thing, but there's some carryover when something like this happens late in the season for a young team. I would be surprised if it all of a sudden went backwards next year. I really would. I've talked to scouts; they're just amazed at what steps they've taken offensively since the All-Star break. It really is quite amazing. You got to give a lot of credit to Will Venable and that staff. It's just having a bunch of adults in the room, steadying the ship, even with a bad record, and just going at it again. Next day, get better. And all of a sudden, Colson Montgomery, does what he does. And this offense, I mean, I knew the pitching staff would take steps. I did not know this offense would. So I do think it's something sustainable, something to carry over. And I think they just want to finish strong and take that attitude into next year.
Waddle mentioned the 9-2 over since August 31st, 25-25 since the All-Star break, too. And, a lot of these young guys have developed, and that's where I think most Sox fans should be pretty happy is it just seems like the right player development people are here from the manager, from the front office standpoint, the people in charge of pitching and hitting. They've just, it seems like, done a good job of bringing these young guys, this first wave of young guys around.
It was about the only real opinion I had when you asked me about Getz after he made all these hires. I said, I do like the hires. I have no idea if it's all going to work because of Reinsdorf, because of this, because of that. But the hires he made from the pitching infrastructure guys he brought in, player development, and Josh Barfield, who did it in Arizona, these were good guys, adults in the room. I keep saying that because that's what it was needed over there. And Will Venable certainly applies, in that category as well. So it's about as well as you could be expected, if not a whole lot better when you consider what they've done on offense.
All right, Pigskin Jesse, what happened to our favorite football team Monday night on the lakefront?
You were there.
Yeah, I was. My usual, kind of blitz before the game, and then all excited and come down to earth late in the game. I mentioned this on Carmen Yurko. Waddle, I don't know. I was on the Vikings side of the field, high up, and for some reason, my buzzed brain was watching Kevin O'Connell the entire game. I don't know why. Besides the game, he was walking the sidelines by himself, and I didn't know if there was going to be panic in the Vikings down the stretch or his play calling was just going to get it done. You know what I mean? Like, to me, from a distance, he exuded confidence, and I didn't know if it was going to be false confidence or because he only went up to J.J. McCarthy a couple times. It wasn't like he was in his face the entire game. He was just doing his thing on the sideline, but calling the next play. And I just was so impressed how they turned it around. I know the Bears gave it up, but at the same time, you have to give the Vikings a ton of credit. And I'll just say what you got, like, if Caleb Williams is accurate, they win the game. Like, if he's just accurate on the simplest of throws, they win the game. Having said all that about Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings, all he had to do was hit a couple of those throws, and the game's probably out of reach. So really, really weird to see that. And, last thing, you guys know, the crowd went ape you-know-what on the pick six and thought, like, it was the first big moment of the new season on the pick six. And it looked like, okay, this is going to go the right direction. And it's amazing to go from that to what happened just really a few minutes later in the fourth quarter. I mean, not that long later in the fourth quarter. It was such a come down in the stands from that moment to the end of the game.
Yeah, Jesse, I told Waddle that I thought, in the beginning of the game when the defense took them 3 and out and then the offense scored, that the place was up for grabs. And then, like you said, in that third quarter, when things were going really well, the pick six, and they still kept momentum for a little bit, and then Cairo missed the field goal, that it just, when I think back and I think about how juiced up and amped that crowd was and optimistic, it's such a buzzkill to think that they lost that game.
Yeah, and my observation about O'Connell was just like, I don't think I've ever watched a play caller the entire game. And they're really on an island,
Well, let me ask you this. Why are you watching him and not Ben Johnson?
Because I was on the Vikings side.
He was on the Vikings sideline.
I can't even see. I don't even know why I was watching him so much. During the commercial breaks, I was buzzed. What can I say? And so I'm just,
That's weird. That's weird.
Right, and I just was watching him, and they're really on an island out there. Calling plays. He's not talking to a lot of people.
Well, you know what, Jess? I know you were fixated on Kevin O'Connell. They kept showing on the television copy that it was Josh. Josh was the one that was taking care of the conversations with JJ. He's their quarterback's coach, and I think that's kind of the dynamic that exists in Minnesota. That O'Connell's over here taking care of the mad scientists in the lab. And we all know Josh, he's one of the best persons on the face of the planet, is over here responsible for making sure his young quarterback his mind is right. And
about halfway through the game, I'm thinking, literally in my head, I'm doing a talk show. I'm like, does O'Connell realize his offense stinks? But then he just kept at it. Just kept at it, made adjustments. Obviously, you see some different play calls, and then boom, 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 the whole game changes. I don't know. I was just so focused on him, and you're right. He talked to J.J. McCarthy maybe twice on the sideline the entire game. Came over to him like twice. Once during a timeout he went on the field, once on the bench, and that was it. And then they come out with that fourth quarter. It was quite amazing to watch.